Blog Talk Radio.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. We have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
George Bush has invoked a new world order without enunciating a new American purpose.
Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order, and instead it looks like we got a lot of disorder.
Today we take an essential step in defeating terrorism while protecting the constitutional rights of all Americans. Preventing mass terror will be the responsibilities of presidents far into the future.
The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. These are not simply words written into aging parchment. They are the foundation of liberty and justice in this country.
This is an ideological battle. Some people believe in globalism, others of us believe in national sovereignty. It's a contest between ideologies, whether we believe in our institutions here, our national sovereignty, our Constitution, or are we going to further move in the direction of international government? It's just knowledge is out there. If we look for it, you'll realize that our national sovereignty is under threat.
I think at one time or another we've all questioned as to whether all that we see and are experiencing in our world has some sort of a rational plan behind it, because we understand now that both the Republican and the Democratic Party in our country are basically run by the same people. The same money finances both sides. We now know, of course, through the work of many historians who have spent their life working on research to show us that both sides of world conflicts have always been financed by the same people. And as I've said before, there seems to be a method to the madness going on in the world. We know, of course, that we cannot depend on our leaders. Our leaders are misleaders. There is a science that they're following. They have their own agenda, and it doesn't include you. What your government pays for, it gets. If you are paid to do something for the government, they will extract from you exactly what they have paid for. When we understand that, Then we look at universities and schools, government-financed institutions of education, and see the kind of students and the kind of education that's being turned out by these government-financed schools. Logic will tell you that if what is being turned out in those schools was not in accord with what the state and the federal government wanted, then it would change it. The bottom line is that the government is getting what they have ordered. They're getting what they have paid for. They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, game shows, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment that keep the human mind entertained, so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it. And all American citizens, I think, have suspected something like this is going on. But we're all too busy trying to stay alive and live our lives. And after all, what can one person do about it? This is the most powerful government the world has ever known. They had the ability to get a hold on Adolf Hitler 50 years ago. He had a standing army, the greatest navy, air force, military, secret underworld organizations operating throughout the world. But this government got a hold on Adolf Hitler because it chose to and it wanted to. And if you do not pay your income taxes, they will find you if you go to the Amazon jungle, and they will make an example of you. They will find you and they will deal with you, and you know it. But for some reason, they're unable to get a handle on drugs and the crime in the streets for some reason.
All right, everybody. How you doing? Joseph Gibson here on Blog Talk Radio Live, 100% live. All callers, 657-383-0616. If you missed the intro there, very important intro. Your leaders are misleaders, okay? And I listened to Donald Trump's speech on Tuesday night there, and he's the first president to stand up against socialism. And that's what we're going to address here, socialism. Nobody is owed anything. Anything in our country here today, nobody is owed nothing. We all should have the right, though, to the pursuit of happiness, should we not? And I believe in my heart, and Donald Trump is on my Twitter feed, and actually today he was in a prayer meeting with which most presidents have neglected to come to. He was in a prayer meeting, and he quoted some of the Bible verses that I quoted on my radio show about abortion and murder. And I want to thank everyone for your kind comments about that radio show I did last week about abortion. Abortion is murder, period. It's not a woman's choice to kill a child. I don't care what you believe, what you feel, or what your emotions feel, and I don't care about the caller that called in last week from Florida, okay? Deal with your own character and understand that you were wrong. No one has the right to take a life of an innocent child. Period. End of story. And let me ask this question. And we called the sergeant of the 1st Precinct live on this show, because that's what we're going to do on this show. We're going to call politicians on this show tonight. That's what we're going to do. All right, and we'll probably get voicemails and whatnot, but they're out in California, most of them, so they should still be working according to their websites. But let me ask this question. Why in New York State, and I wanted to ask the sergeant this question before he hung up on me, because he doesn't work for me, because he represents the seal of his badge. That's what he said on my radio show live. Why is it when someone shoots a pregnant woman and kills her, he is charged with double homicide. Why is that? Why is an individual who shoots a pregnant woman charged with double homicide? Well, according to Governor Cuomo and the governor of Virginia, doctors have a right to kill a baby after they're born, right? So what's going on here, folks? Did you not listen to the introduction? Your politicians are misleaders. They are phony. They are fake. Before I start calling criminal politicians here on my radio show live, I want to dedicate this show to my grandmother in Yalesville, Connecticut, who has been a faithful listener of this radio program since day one. And she has been stricken with pneumonia, and we all need to pray for her. She is the last of the Mohegans in my family circle. Because I live in I've done family shows in the past, and I expose them. I do. I don't care. I'm going to tell the truth. So help me God. But my grandmother in Yalesville, Connecticut, Elizabeth Rondo, we are praying for you. I talked to Dr. Peter Ventura and his church from San Diego, California. Actually, I'm going to be calling San Diego, California on this radio show, and that's another issue I want to talk about, the pollution in the ocean. We're going to talk to the mayor's office. But I want to dedicate this show to Elizabeth Rondo, my grandmother, who has faithfully supported this radio program from day one. And it's too bad that I didn't realize when I was younger that the older generation who were trying to teach me to do the right thing, I did not listen. And that's what this show is all about, understanding the times in which we live in today. And we all need to understand those times, and we need to learn from those who were wiser than us yesterday. How many of you out there are willing to do that? How many of you are willing to come together as a family instead of being scumbag Americans who have an ulterior motive? Because that's what it's all about. It's all about me today. Hey, look, the Me Too movement, right? Me. I recognize the fact of what my great-grandparents taught me on my father's side and on Elizabeth Rondo's side. Her sister, Helen Robinson, who passed away, was one of my best friends throughout life, and she taught me a lot. When I was down and out and I survived my second murder attempt on my life, she was there to help me. Okay? When no one else was. And that's the generation that they grew up in. You see, they grew up during the Great Depression, during World War II. They knew about socialism. They knew about family, what family really understands. But today we live in a sick world. We live in a drugged-out world, a chemically dumbed-down, morally bankrupt society that only cares about themselves and all they can get from somebody else. So without further ado, before we go on time here, go out of time here, I want to start calling some numbers here, and we're going to put these politicians on the spot. And I'm hoping that my friend there from Wisconsin is listening here tonight to the program, because he's the one that gave me the advice to let's put these politicians on the spot. Let's do that. Let's call them live and see if we can, because if you listen to the introduction to the show, did you listen to what Jordan Maxwell said? These people don't care about you. And I played it many times over, and if I got to play it again for you, just let me know. These politicians don't care about you. They are misleaders. They don't care about you. You are a slave. And now and Donald Trump in 2020, I really believe from what I've seen that he will not be reelected to the District of Columbia. He will not, the corporation. And we're going to get a socialist president again, like Obama. But you see, and you say, well, okay, Obama was president. How come he couldn't achieve what he wanted to achieve? Because there are still good people out there that were alive back then. There were good people. Holocaust survivors, like Donald Trump pointed out in his State of the Union address on Tuesday night. There were still good people who understood tyranny, who understood socialism doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. But you see, in 2020, those people are most likely going to be gone. A majority of them are going to be gone. The World War I veterans, all of them are gone. World War II veterans, they're dying off by the day. And we're losing out on history, true history, people who knew what socialism was all about. Well, the rich need to pay their fair share, blah, blah, blah. You know, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. But let's start calling here. Let's call some politicians here. And I've got a whole list of numbers. I've done my research. And let's do that live on Blog Talk Radio, because this is internet radio. This is a podcast show that understands the times in which you live in today. And people need to pay attention and listen. And you're going to see and understand the times in which we live in today, because I'm going to prove it to you. Because these people don't care about you at all. They have an agenda. And it does not include you. It's a big club, and you're not in it. Let's call this first scumbag politician's office.
Hello.
Let's see here.
Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Oh, Google Voice. Yeah, my name is Joseph Gibson. Connect me. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see if they'll connect me. California politician. This is Ocasio-Cortez's number that she advertises on her website to call. You know. And no, I don't want to email you, and I don't want to need a robot response. Okay, all right. I'm going to give you a couple more rings, and I'm going to hang up, and I'm going to call the other number.
Thank you for calling the campaign office of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. If you have policy questions, please refer to our website, Ocasio2018.com.
I'm sure.
If you're interested in volunteering, please visit Ocasio2018.com/Team Ocasio.
I'm sure I will.
If you have any other questions or comments, please email us@Ocasio2018.com.
Oh, yeah.
You may also leave a message at the tone, but we are a small team, and we apologize if we aren't able to return every call.
Team.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a small team. All right. Yeah, this is Joseph Gibson from Blog Talk Radio, understanding the times in which you live in today. I know my voicemail will be deleted, and you will never return my call. But I do a radio show, internet radio podcast show called Understanding the Times in Which You Live in Today. The phone number is 657-383-0616. I just wanted to speak to Ocasio-Cortez live on my radio show without fake news or the corporate media twisting or editing voices. I'm sure I won't get a call back from you tonight, but you can contact me on blogtalkradio.com/Joseph Gibson, understanding the times in which you live in today, and I'm sure you will not contact me because I want to talk to Ocasio-Cortez, my representative, someone who plans on running for president of the United States. I want to talk to her. I mean, today we can't talk to our representatives, can we? But I'm doing it tonight through a voicemail machine, and that's what it's all about. So you delete my message when I hang up here, or you can have the guts to call into my radio show and to have a discussion with me. Good night. God bless America. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Ocasio, let's hang up on them. I don't want them to listen to the whole show. We got another number here for Ocasio-Cortez here, her New York office. Well, they're closed now. They're all out drinking and having wine together. And this is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to call these criminal politicians, and I'll get somebody live. I will. You know, let's call her New York office, and I bet we'll get a voicemail. And you can email us. Yeah, right. So one of your robot constituents can email me back and say, I'm sorry, sir, But thank you for contacting our office, and please support us. We did that with Amazon, didn't we?
Hello. This
All right, come on.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, representing the 4th
yes, Ocasio-Cortez,
New York, covering the Bronx and Queens. Thank you
the
for
Bronx
calling
and Queens.
The office.
I'm home right now. I'm living in my $25,000 square foot house, courtesy of you.
Yeah. If you would like to leave a comment for me regarding a policy or bill, please press 1.
A bill? No, I don't need any bills.
Of the 14th Congressional District of New
I
York,
got plenty of bills.
That's a policy or bill, please press 2.
I'm sure.
If you are a constituent calling to discuss casework,
a constituent? What's a constituent?
Press
Can you
3.
explain what a constituent
is? If you are calling from another congressional office, please press 4.
No, I'm calling
if you are
as
calling
we the
to invite
people.
me to
That's
attend
what I'm
an
doing.
event or schedule a meeting,
attend
please visit
an
my
event.
website at ocasio-cortez.house.gov.
5,000 yards from one of your events.
If you are a member of the press, please email us at aoc.press@mail.house.gov. To repeat this message, please press 0. Hola, soy la congresista Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, representando al Distrito Congresional número 14 de Nueva York, cubriendo el Bronx y Queens. Gracias por llamar a mi oficina en Washington, D.C.
It's amazing
por
how
favor,
you can always get on
escuche
CNN and Fox
las
News, but you don't talk
opciones.
to the people in the other media.
Si
the
quiere
internet
dejarme
media.
un comentario,
Amazing,
por favor,
All right,
presione
shut up. All right, we're not going to get anywhere with her, are we? Okay, let's call someone out in California. They should still be open, right? I mean, it's what, 3 hours? Whoa, we got to hurry up here because they go home very quickly there. Let's see here. Let's call this one here real quick here. And this is what they do, folks. These are your representatives who live in 25,000 square foot houses. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They don't care what you got to say unless you moonwalk like Michael Jackson, right? He dressed up like Michael Jackson 30 years ago. He's a racist. We'll get into that, too.
Thank you for calling the Sacramento office of U.S. Senator Kamala D. Harris. If you have reached this message during normal business hours, all of our lines are currently busy assisting other constituents. For our office hours and location, please press 1. For casework assistance, you may contact our San Francisco office by calling 415-981-9369 or by emailing casework_harris@harris.senate.gov.
Okay.
You may also press 2 to be automatically transferred to our casework staff. To leave a legislative comment for Senator Harris, please press 3. To hear these options again, please press the star key. Thank you for your call.
Yeah. Well, I pressed 2 and I'm not getting connected. Hello?
Your call cannot be transferred. Please try again later.
I'm sure it can't be
Thank
transferred.
you.
I'm sure it can't. All right, thank you. And then they hang up on you. I'm sure it cannot be transferred. You can press 2. Yeah, I did press 2 and they hung up on me. All right, let's call the number that she recommended that I call. Let's see here. Here we go. Let's see here. Let's do it again here. And folks, these are your criminal politicians, the criminals that you're all so concerned about with somebody from Virginia doing the moonwalk in 1984. I wore blackface. I put shoe polish on my nose. That makes me a racist. Let's call that number she told me to call. Let's see she told me to call this number. That's what she did in that voicemail. Hang on, let's see.
Senator
We're going to call Imperial Beast in. Oh, yes, how you doing? I got your phone number there. I'm trying to reach Miss Kamala Harris in California there. I wanted to ask her a question. How do I do that? Are you a constituent of her office, ma'am?
Sir, this is her Senate office in California.
Yes. Okay. Oh, that was my question then. Well, thank you. I just wanted to ask a question there. I mean, as a citizen, as an American citizen, and as far as Kamala Harris's policies and what she stated in the corporate media. Does Kamala Harris support socialism in America? I mean, and can you define what her socialist policies are as a representative of her senator's office?
Give me 1 second, sir.
1 second, okay.
Hi, sir. Sorry about that. Senator Harris hasn't put out an official statement regarding socialism at all, and so unfortunately I cannot speak on that.
Okay. Well, she did put out a proposal of taxing the rich 90%. She did do that in the corporate media. Can you define the rich? I mean, how much money does someone have to be taxed 90%? Can you answer that question if you don't mind?
Yeah. I'm getting the proper answers for you because I don't want to misspeak.
That's okay. Take your time, ma'am.
Hi, sir. Again, sorry about that. So there's no legislation for a 90% tax rate. However, there is a 70% marginal tax that would be applied to people who make over $10 million a year. But that hasn't been voted on.
Okay, all right. I understand that. So there's no legislation right now, but if Kamala Harris was to be elected president, as she is in the presidential candidate race, that's from what I've been told, and she proposes a 90% tax hike on the rich. But I just wanted to know, how much money does one have to make as a rich individual in America to be taxed at 90%?
Sir, so unfortunately this is the Senate side of her office, and we are not allowed to discuss her presidential campaign due to Senate ethics policies. And so anything that she's running on, a part of her campaign, I cannot speak on.
Well, let me ask you just, I appreciate your time, I do. Are you still there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm calling live from a radio show called Understanding the Times in Which We Live in Today, and I am part of the media, and I understand, and I appreciate your time. But how do I get in contact with Ms. Harris to maybe answer some of my questions here concerning maybe socialism, like Donald Trump talked about, where, in the State of the Union address, because a lot of us Americans are concerned about that, and that's what. How do I get in contact with her?
Sir, did you say you were recording this conversation live?
Am I recording the conversation? Oh, well, what do you mean? I'm calling in as an American United States corporate citizen.
No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hello? 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 Are you still there, ma'am? Okay. Am I recording the conversation? Why? What are they so afraid of if I'm recording the conversation? What are they so afraid of? Folks, they were just exposed again on my radio show. That's what they do, folks. All right, sir, are you recording this? Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Don't record this. Don't do that. Oh, no. I didn't tell her I was recording. I told her she was live on a radio show. Click, ka-gang, hang up. Folks, everyone out there listening here on Blog Talk Radio, that was Carmelo Harrison from California. She's a constituent. I'm a constituent. I'm a senator. I can't discuss anything. I can't discuss nothing. I can't discuss nothing. If you're recording this, I cannot discuss it. No. Because they don't. Hang on, folks. Let me play this 3-minute clip one more time for you. Can I do that for everybody? Do you have the patience and the time to listen to this? Do you? I want to play something for you here real quick, okay? Real quick, again, in case all of you missed it, okay? I want to play it one more time, and I just did this for all. I just called one of our representatives But let's play this one more time to get it through your thick heads. Here we go. Play it one more time.
I think at one time or another we've all questioned as to whether all that we see and are experiencing in our world has some sort of a rational plan behind it. Because we understand now that both the Republican and the Democratic Party in our country are basically run by the same people. The same money finances both sides. We now know, of course, through the work of many historians who have spent their life working on research to show us that both sides of world conflicts have always been financed by the same people. And as I've said before, there seems to be a method to the madness going on in the world. We know, of course, that we cannot depend on our leaders. Our leaders are misleaders. There is a science that they're following. They have their own agenda, and it doesn't include you. What your government pays for, it gets. If you are paid to do something for the government, they will extract from you exactly what they have paid for. When we understand that, then we look at universities and schools, government-financed institutions of education, and see the kind of students and the kind of education that's being turned out by these government-financed schools. Logic will tell you that if what is being turned out in those schools was not in accord with what the state and the federal government wanted, then it would change it. The bottom line is that the government is getting what they have ordered. They're getting what they have paid for. They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, game shows, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment that keep the human mind entertained, so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it. And all American citizens, I think, have suspected something like this is going on. But we're all too busy trying to stay alive and live our lives. And after all, what can one person do about it? This is the most powerful government the world has ever known. They had the ability to get a hold on Adolf Hitler 50 years ago. He had a standing army, the greatest navy, air force, military, secret underworld organizations operating throughout the world. But this government got a hold on Adolf Hitler because it chose to and it wanted to. And if you do not pay your income taxes, they will find you if you go to the Amazon jungle, and they will make an example of you. They will find you and they will deal with you, and you know it. But for some reason, they're unable to get a handle on.
All right, folks. Absolutely correct. They will deal with you. They will deal with you. You can hide in the Amazon jungle and they will find you. Okay, folks? And we just tried calling our representatives who are elected to represent us. And what do? Are you recording this? Oh, my God. Click. Bang. Go. You just heard it yourself, didn't you? Live on this radio show. Did you not? Did you not? And this show is archived, and I'm asking all my listeners to promote this radio program because I give everyone a voice here live. 657-383-0616. Press 1 if you want to speak to me and voice your opinion. But I had a friend here tonight who wanted me to call the mayor of Imperial Beach to talk about the chemicals in the water. Okay? And let's see here, the beach. Let's talk to the mayor here. Let's see, the mayor's office, mayor of Imperial Beach. Maybe they're still around. If not, we'll get the live callers. But I hope you really paid attention to what Mr. Listen, Jordan Maxwell may not have it all right on, but he was right on there, wasn't he? Wasn't he? But we're going to call Imperial Beach, San Diego, California. Let's call them right now, and let's talk about the chemicals in the water that has given bronchitis to thousands of people. The chemicals in the water. All right, maybe we can get a comment on that. Let's see. Hang on. Let's call them and see what happens. Maybe we can get a hold of somebody. We'll see. So just get the time here. This is what we're going to do on Blog Talk Radio. And we'll get somebody live again, I promise you. And they'll make a fool out of themselves live on Understanding the Times in Which You Live in Today.
Thank you for calling. You have reached Sandra Cowan at the City of Imperial Beach. Sorry I missed your call, and you have reached this recording because it's outside my regular working hours. Please note that my schedule is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please leave me a detailed...
All right. So, well, see, we do this radio show a little bit too late. Maybe we need to start doing this radio show a little bit earlier so we can get a hold of these criminals. But let's see here real quick here. Let's see, I got another number here, Beach Weather. Let's call that and see what we get here. That number there is muted. All right, let's call here the Beach Weather. See if we can get a hold of somebody here real quick. And that's what I need to start doing this radio show a little bit earlier, because we know these politicians come into work at 9 o'clock and they leave at 2 o'clock. Okay? And these hard federal workers here. All right, it's 595. All right, hang on here. I'm typing in a number here. This is what listen. I'm not like other Blog Talk radio shows. I will call people live. I will put them on the spot, and that's what I think we're going to do here in the future. All right.
This recorded beach weather and surf report is provided by the Imperial Beach Lifeguard Service. Following update for 8 a.m. Thursday, February 7th, 2019. Current water safety conditions remain hazardous due to pollution. Area close to water contact due to contamination is from the U.S.-Mexican border to Coronado Beach. High tides for today, 10:02 a.m. with a flow of 5.5 and 11:10 p.m. with a flow of 4.3.
So don't swim in the water.
And low tides 4 a.m. with a flow of 1.6 and 4:49 p.m. with a flow of -0.2. Current weather conditions are sunny. Current air temperature is 42 degrees. Estimated max 260.
Just don't drink the water.
The wind is out of the northeast at 3 to 5 miles per hour, and visibility about 10 to 15 miles. Have a nice day. Remember to avoid water contact while the yellow contamination signs are posted. This message will not repeat.
Hey, how you doing? I just heard the beep there. That's hilarious. My name is Joseph Gibson. I'm calling from Blog Talk Radio, Understanding the Times in Which You Live in Today. Phone number 657-383-0616. I do a show every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is hilarious, that recording. The beach is hazardous due to pollution. Who's polluting the water? Where's the San Diego Police Department? Why aren't they arresting these people that are polluting the water? I want answers. I really want answers, and I'm hoping someone from your department will call me or message me on blogtalkradio.com/Joseph Gibson. I'm not going to give out my personal phone number due to the hackers out there and the internet trolls that are listening right now, because through my phone number, we know they can find my name, they can find my address, they can get my Social Security number and hack into my bank account like they have. But I'm doing a live radio show right now, and I just think that is really, really awesome what you said. Don't swim in the water. It's hazardous. Where are the police departments? Oh, that's right. They're arresting the people that are carrying around $20 crack bags that the government ships in through the air, not on the ground, through the air. Look at the story from Barry Seal. All right. Look at the Iran-Contra affair. Go back into history, and I'm sure we'll understand history today, tomorrow. But that is hilarious. That really is. But I am live, and I would love to have someone from your office comment. I'm live on my radio show. But God bless. Take care. And good night, sir. And thank you for at least listening to the message that I may have brought you if you have not already deleted it. Good night. Everybody, understanding the times in which you live in today. Did you hear what that individual just said? Don't swim in the water. It's too polluted. Well, who's polluting the water? What's going on, folks? And I've got callers on the line here, but I've got one more number to call here tonight. I do, and I need to start doing this show a little bit earlier. I really do, because I need to get a hold of these people like I did Kamala Harris's office, who hung up on me, and an American citizen. An American citizen, well, actually a United States corporate citizen, because I have to be a slave like everyone else, but hung up on me, would not address any question that I asked her office. I'm a constituent of legislative branch. I start legislative law, and I can't answer that question. That's what she said, right? Go back in the archive and listen to it. And this is what I'm going to do for now on this radio program. I'm going to expose these criminals, okay? And that's what they are. They are criminals. And I played that with Jordan Maxwell. Your leaders are misleaders. What are you going to do about it, sheep? What are you going to do about it, sheep? Will you stand up and stand for the right thing? Well, like Jordan Maxwell said, we're too busy just trying to stay alive, aren't we? We got to pay our bills. I mean, we got to pay our taxes. Because like Jordan Maxwell said, you can hide in the Amazon jungle, and they will deal with you. They will find you no matter where you go. You will pay your taxes. You will obey the king. You will obey him. And the king is the Federal Reserve. And we've been over that many times on this radio program. The Federal Reserve Bank. You will obey. You will go to work, and you will pay your bills on time. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of people that know how to get around the system, okay? And they're going to deal with them soon. Trust me. That's why in 2020, even here in North Carolina, and we're going to call the Department of Motor Vehicle live on this show. We can't do it now. They're closed. They go home at 5 p.m., but we're going to start doing an earlier radio show, and we're going to start asking questions that it's going to expose these criminals, okay? Because in 2020, you will have a microchip in your driver's license if you don't already have it, and they will find you, and they will track you, and you will obey. And if you don't pay your taxes like the king demands, they will arrest you, and they will make an example out of you, and they will deal with you like Jordan Maxwell just said. And I don't need to play it again for those of you that are paying attention. And those of you who are calling in now, you need to go back and listen. They will deal with you. You can't hide anywhere or nowhere. Okay? And I'm going to get to the callers here. I just want to call one more number and see if I can get someone live here. If I can't, then I'll get to the callers because we got plenty of time left on this radio program. But you see, I'm doing this. Why is not other blog talk radio shows doing what I'm doing? And I salute the Global Patriot Network for having me on the air on their radio program. I salute them. I do. And I love all of you out there that are awake. And I shun the others out there, like Dr. Pat Holliday, who is a part of a cult, her charismatic church. Give me $100 and I'll give you baby oil that'll cure you. You know, I shun those radio shows. But they have a right to say what they have to say, and we're all accountable for our own actions. Well, not actually anymore. I mean, you know, I'm responsible if my next-door neighbor, the way it's going, if a guy drives drunk down the road and kills 2 kids and I sold him liquor from my convenience store, I should be held accountable, right? Because no one should be held accountable for their individual actions. I'd like to hear from people on that subject, actually. You know, Why are we not being accountable for ourselves? It's called common law. It's called the Republic. And shame on you people who believe in a democracy. 2 wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. And, I mean, there's just so many, like Jordan Maxwell said, historians have devoted their lives to understanding the times in which we live in today. And shame on those of us who don't do what our founders of this country preached and taught us through the Federalist Papers, through the Constitution, to keep our republic. Shame on us. Shame on us as a people. These politicians don't care about you. They don't care. They are misleaders. They don't care at all about you. It's a big club, and you're not in it, folks. But if you want a voice on this radio program before they shut me down, and they've tried to shut me down a couple times already. They have. But I stood up and I fought. But eventually they will shut this program down. They will. They will attack me. They will come after me. For me standing up for you. You. You know, there's an old saying. Someone told me, I was standing on my front porch and I saw my neighbor 2 houses down get hauled away, put into a cart, hauled off to prison. Glad it's not me. Why? Because he owned a gun? Why? Because he voiced his free speech? Who cares? As long as they're not coming after me. And then they came next door and they hauled off my next neighbor. At least it ain't me. Right? They took him away. I don't know why. I saw the Federal Reserve forces, snatch him up and haul him away. And then they knocked on my door. Now who do I ask for help? My neighbors are all gone. I'm standing alone. You have no one to blame but yourselves for the way things are today in this country. You have no one to blame but yourself. And you should stand up for your individual rights. And you should stand up together. There are people out there that are awake. They're asking you. They're begging you. Stand up for what is right. Stand up for your constitutional rights. We are all endowed by our Creator to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Do I really need to read the jury handbook to you? You are a juror. You have the obligation as a citizen of the Republic to convict these people, to hold these people accountable for their actions. Do you? No, you do not. Like Jordan Maxwell, you're too busy trying to stay alive. You're too busy paying your bills, my electric bill, my cell phone bill. Shame on you. The founders of this country gave up their families, their lives, their sacred fortunes, everything they had so you can enjoy the freedoms you have today. And I don't want to, readdress the problems of the past. The founders knew that this country would overcome a lot of the problems that we face: slavery, civil rights. But I'm going to tell you right now, heading in the direction of socialism is disgusting. Socialism has never worked. Never. But Donald Trump, the president of this District of Columbia Corporation, is doing the best job he can to end regulation. I want to tell you something real quick here before I call this next number. I enjoy landscaping and working outside. And I was installing an irrigation system for a customer of mine years ago. And the city showed up. The city showed up. The city, a representative of the city. What are you doing? I told him, none of your business. He said, it looks like you're trying to install an irrigation system. I said, it looks like anything you want it to appear to be. Who the hell are you to tell me what I'm doing? I'm doing a service for somebody in this home. Who are you to come onto this property and tell me what I am to do or how I am to do it? He says, well, according to code and regulation, you need to have a licensed plumber install the copper tubing to that irrigation system. Now, copper tubing, if anyone knows about irrigation installation, you have to have a backflow, an irrigation backflow system to it. Okay, I knew that already, and I was only charging the guy there for out-of-pocket expenses and my blood, sweat, and tears. But the city said I need to hire a licensed plumber to do it because I don't have a license or permission from the city of Greensboro, North Carolina to do it. I told him, I don't need your permission. He says, well, if you install that, we will come and we will destroy it and we will confiscate it and we will charge the homeowner. I talked to the homeowner. I said, this is what the city told me. Will you stand up and fight? Oh, my God, what am I going to do? I guess we just got to pay it. I guess, you know what a licensed plumber is going to cost you for 15 minutes worth of work? $595. I guess I got to pay it. I guess I got to cooperate. You know, I don't want to go against the county. I don't want to go against the government. What could I do? Nobody will stand with me. They won't fight. So I called the licensed plumber and had him come out with his bulldozer, and he installed the copper tubing, the backflow system, the backflow preventer. It took him all of 18 minutes, and he charged $595 because the county, the government, told me I had to obey them. I didn't obey, but I tried to talk to the homeowner. I said, look, they cannot come on your property and do nothing. Stand up for your rights. I'm only going to charge you $59 for my time and labor, blood, sweat, and tears. I don't want no problems with the county. I don't want no problems. I just got to pay it, I guess. Here's the check. Hire the plumber. Why? I don't need a license to know what I already know. I don't need a license or permission from the county. But this is the problem we face, folks. I'm using an example here. An example. Shame on you people who give in to the king, who give in to the king, who obey the king. We are a free people in America. We're supposed to be a free people. We are endowed by our Creator to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's not owed to us. We have the right to work for it, though. So shame on you for not uniting and coming together. And I was ashamed, actually, when the homeowner said that. I said, go ahead and pay it. Pay the plumber. Go ahead. I would have did it for $60, $59.95, actually, to be exact, parts and all. But he decided to pay a licensed plumber. Excuse me, everybody. And then the city came back out and they inspected it and made sure it was all done by a licensed plumber. You know, they had to inspect it and give me permission to continue work. Give me permission. And I argued with that guy that got out of the truck. I said, you should be ashamed of yourself. It was a black guy, actually. I said, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm just doing my job. Well, that's what they said in the Nuremberg trials. I was just doing what I was told, right? I'm just doing what I'm told. That don't cut it anymore, folks. That don't cut it. And it's not going to cut it when we go against the New World Order. All right, let's see here. Let's call Imperial Beach one more time, and let's get the callers. All right, come on now. Everyone, 657-383-0616. Press 1 if you want to talk.
Hello, can I help you?
Hey, how you doing? Is this the beach weather from 619? I'm calling in because I had a complaint about the ocean conditions over there in Imperial Beach. I just want to know if you give me some details on that, ma'am.
If you want to basically, the only thing I could say, you could call basically the lifeguard services. You could try this number and see if they are available. 619-423-02. No, it's actually 1420.
Well, I called 619-595-3954, and the recorded message told me that the conditions of the ocean out there on Imperial Beach is hazardous. And I just want to know, who's polluting the water out there? What's going on? Why aren't these people being prosecuted? I mean, what's going on? Why is the water so polluted? Can you give me an answer on that, if you don't mind me asking?
I work in the finance department, so I do not have an answer to that question. I'm an accountant. I just do numbers. The number I gave you, that's for basically the Marine Safety Division. Maybe they can help you.
Can you give me that number again, please, if you don't mind?
Sure. Try 619.
619. 628.
1420. That would be one person who might be able to help you.
Okay, and you are located in San Diego, California. Does this issue concern you if you're located out there in that area? I mean, are you concerned about it? I know you said you're an accountant and you only handle the numbers, but don't you think this should be a concern of yours as an individual or a citizen of the area, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, well, first of all, Imperial Beach is not San Diego. Imperial Beach is actually the city of Imperial Beach.
Okay.
So yeah,
well,
this is.
Okay.
I work for the city of Imperial Beach. I work in the finance department. Certainly, this thing concerns me, but it's not in my field of expertise. That's what I'm saying. There are other people who are experts on this and are dealing with that, and that's the number I gave you. So yes, it is a concern, and our city is addressing it. It's just not in my field of expertise, as I said.
May I ask, how is the city addressing it, if you don't mind me asking? How is the city addressing it right now?
Well, the person that first of all, that was Marine Safety. We do have a mayor who actually was elected. He used to work on he used to run a nonprofit on water safety. He's been very involved with it, as well as other city council members. So I know that history. I know there are issues. Certainly the people I spoke to who work with lifeguard services deal with it the most, and then of course with city council, then they coordinate.
I appreciate your response, but how are they addressing the pollution issue? I mean, do you know about that? I mean, how are they addressing it and trying to tackle that issue? Do you know by any chance?
Well, as I said, the lifeguards are basically on the front lines. They test the water, and if there is an issue, the beaches will close. As far as basically the city council, they have the right to basically initiate litigation if they want to the source of the problem. They are looking into that and working with basically environmental agencies.
Oh, okay, environmental agencies. And who would that litigation be against? Who's polluting the water? Do you know by any chance? Who's polluting the water?
I can't go into the details. I don't know all the legal issues because environmental policy gets very complicated about where you have to trace the source and all the issues. I cannot answer those legal questions. As I said, you could talk to Marine Safety. You could talk to basically our city council. We have council meetings. You could go there and speak. They allow you to speak. We have them every 2 weeks on Wednesday nights. But I cannot get into all the legal issues. That's being handled with lawyers, and it's way out of my field of specialty.
Oh, all right. Well, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I thank you very much for your time. Good night, ma'am, and God bless you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, folks, you just heard another robot that says, I can't get into it. Hey, I don't have an opinion. I just handle the numbers. Right? But she gave me a phone number to call. So before I get the callers, let's call that number, and maybe we can get some answers from them. What do you think, folks? Who's polluting the water off the coast of California? Who's polluting the water? I'll tell you who. In a moment. And they won't dare go after them because you want to know why? They pay for all their houses. They pay for all their trips. They pay the politicians. And they get all the tax breaks Because you are the slave, folks. You are the slave, and you are owned by these people, like Jordan Maxwell said. But let's call the number. Maybe, well, I'm sure we'll see what happens here. It'll probably be a voicemail, and then I'll get the callers. All right? I promise I will, but this is what this show is going to be about from now on. We're going to contact these people, and we're going to let them hang themselves. That's what we're going to do. We're going to expose the criminal element of the politicians who don't care about you. And when will you, the sheep, wake up? When? When? That's my question. And I hope callers will call in tonight and say, what am I going to do about it? You're going to fight. You're going to stand up, and you're going to expose the truth on understanding the times in which we live in today on blogtalkradio.com/Joseph Gibson. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. And this is what we do. Let's call the number she gave me. Who's polluting the water out there in California? That's what I want to know.
The party you have called
Jason Lindquist
is not available. You may leave a message after the tone.
Yes, Jason Lindquist. How you doing? My name is Joseph Gibson. I'm calling from blogtalkradio.com/Joseph Gibson, understanding the times in which you live in today. I have many listeners out there in California. We're a worldwide radio program, and I wanted to ask you, who's polluting the water out there? And I've called the beach weather front, and I spoke to a representative here from 619-595-3954, and she told me to call you, and I'm getting a voicemail. You must not be available right now. I want to know who's polluting the water. What's going on out there? Obviously, I was told through one of your representatives out there in Imperial Beach that the water is hazardous. Do not swim in the water. Who's polluting the water? What's going on? We want answers as a people, as a republic. And again, I do a radio show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, called blogtalkradio.com/Joseph Gibson, understanding the times in which you live in today. The call-in number is 657-383-0616. You can contact me, email me at joegibsonishome@yahoo.com if you'd like to come on and maybe explain to my many listeners worldwide what's going on out there in Imperial Beach. Why is the water so polluted that people can't even swim in the water, can't even touch the water? What's going on? And I'm addressing this problem here live on the radio worldwide. So I hope you take my message kindly, and I'm going to hang up right now. But thank you for at least listening to my message if you not have already deleted it. Thank you. All right, folks. I hung up on that caller there. He's no longer on the line. So, press 1 if you want to talk live on Blog Talk Radio. I'm going to get to my callers now. Let's talk to callers. Let's press 1 and understand the times in which we live in today. Let's do it. We talked to Kamala Harris from California, her office tonight live if you missed it. Go back into the archive. Go back. We put her on the spot. And we tried to contact Ocasio-Cortez. Of course, we could not get a hold of her, but we did get a hold of Kamala Harris, and we wanted to talk about socialism. And all we got was the runaround. And then we talked to someone from Imperial Beach here. I'm sure some of you just heard that. You know, I work in the accounting department. I don't have an opinion. I don't care. I don't know. I just do what I'm told, right? I just do what I'm told. Oh, my Lord, folks. Is this show not called Understanding the Times in Which We Live in Today? And I played Jordan Maxwell earlier, for those of you that missed it. It was a 3-minute bit. Go back and listen. Your politicians don't care about you. It's a big club, and you're not in it. But before I get to my first caller here, I wanted to talk about something else here on race relations in this country, since it's so important that if someone dresses up like Michael Jackson, you're a racist. You're a racist. You know, if in 1984 you did the moonwalk, you're a racist, and that hurts people. That hurts you. That hurts you. I was watching that show, Cops. You know, and I'm sure my next caller here, my first caller here, will relate to this. he lived in a neighborhood where there were a lot of Mexican people, and his next door neighbors, would play loud music all hours of the night and blah blah blah, and they were putting big rocks in the middle of the road, so people would run over them and crash and maybe get hurt. And he picked up the rock and he knocked on them, and he caught them, what they were doing. And he picked up the rock and he banged on the door. He said, "Hey, what the hell's wrong with you people? Why are you putting these rocks in the road?" And then he made the biggest mistake of his life. He called 911. and he reported it to the Federal Reserve enforcement officers. And they came, and they interviewed him, and he told them the story. He said, "Hey, look, I went and banged on the door. I said, why are you people doing this? What's going on?" So the cops said, okay, blah, 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 blah. And, and they went and knocked on the Mexican doors, and they came out and said, he was banging on our door, accusing us of putting rocks in the road. And then he started using racial slurs, calling us Mexicans, blah, 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 and all this and that. The cop said, okay. And then, like good Federal Reserve enforcement officers, they went over and said, "Sir, put your hands behind your backs. We're going to assault you and handcuff you and drag you off to our warehouse called a jail." Because that's all people have to do nowadays. And I'll follow up with one more story. Now, and same episode of Cops. I'm watching it, right? A guy and a woman are out there in their driveway, and they're arguing with each other. It happens. Husbands and wives, they get into disagreements and whatnot. Well, this woman came down who was a friend of the wife, and she got in the face of the guy and said, blah blah. Started threatening him, telling him, "Hey, you need to stop arguing with her." Blah blah. It's a woman's right. It's a woman's world. And the guy said, "Mind your own business. Go back." And she said, "I'm going to get my boyfriend down here to kick your ass." And he says, "Oh, yeah?" Well, he felt threatened. And he had a concealed carry permit. And he pulled out his gun. And he said, "If you don't exit my property, I'm going to do what I have to do. I feel threatened right now." Well, he made the biggest mistake ever again. He called 911. And he called the police to report it, that his neighbor was intimidating him. Well, the police come out and they check his permit, and he has a permit to carry. You need permission to have a concealed permit and whatnot. In some states, not here in North Carolina, because open carry. In North Carolina, I'll talk about that in a second before I get to my caller. But anyway, he asked the guy, "What happened?" He says, "Well, the woman over there next door got involved in our personal business and started threatening me, and I felt threatened, and I pointed my gun at her." Cop said, "Okay, all right, okay, sounds cool. Hey, you have a right to defend your property." Oh boy, they knock on her door, and she comes out and she says, "I'm sorry, I was in the shower, and I was so scared." And he started calling me the N-word, and he started calling me a black bitch, and he pointed his gun at me. Oh, that's all the police needed to hear. That's all they needed to hear. "Okay, ma'am." Well, remember, she's so scared. He was discriminating against her, called her the N-word, but she was in the shower, taking a shower, she said. She must not have been too scared, sitting in a shower stall, but she was so scared that she told the cops, "So the Federal Reserve forces go down. Sir, put your hands behind your back. Cut, cut, cut. You're under arrest for assault with a deadly weapon." Why? I have a right to defend my life if I feel threatened, right? Not in the Federal Reserve Act, you do, in most states in the Union. You see, so I don't want to hear about that crap. I'm being discriminated against. We got a long way to go here. Racism. You dress up as Michael Jackson, you're a racist. You do the moonwalk. Blah, blah, blah. Knock it off already. Knock it off. This is, and all this is done so by design to divide the people against each other. That's what it's all designed by, really. When you look at it and you understand the times in which you live in today, it's all done so by design. Black versus white, black versus the Mexicans, black versus this. white versus that. It's all done so because America's going to be destroyed from within. It's been foretold by the founders of this country. The only way we're going to lose our republic is if we can't keep it. And we're going to destroy each other from within. But we feed into this. He dressed up like blackface. He put shoe polish on his face and dressed up like Michael Jackson. Resign! Resign! Hang him! Hang him! But it's okay to kill a baby, though. It's okay to kill a child that's born. Let's not address that issue. Let's address the governor of Virginia doing the moonwalk. God, for God's sake, folks. How stupid are you that you feed into this crap? How stupid are you? Well, look, I do a radio show, so that's why I, watch the corporate media because, I like to report on things. But I don't take anything they have to say to heart. I really don't. Fox News, CNN, it's all a bunch of bullshit. Fact. It's all a crock of crap. But you people feed into it. Understand your rights as a human being on this planet. Understand the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Understand what's really happening. Understand how you have been hijacked and you were born into slavery. Understand that. And I talk about slavery, not black, not Hispanic, not Chinese. I talk about all people are born into slavery. It's called the Federal Reserve Act. I played that Jordan Maxwell clip for you folks. And no, I'm not saying everyone deserves a piece of the pie. You need to work for the piece of the pie. But, like I talked about in my landscaping talk, where I was talking about installing an irrigation system, I don't need someone telling me that I need to be regulated or know how to do things or what to do, and I need permission from the government or from any king or any other man to do what I do best. And I think that's what Donald Trump is trying to do. He's trying to end this. He's doing the best he can, but his hands are tied by both the Republican and the Democrat criminal of district politicians, folks. And that's what's happening, and that's understanding the times in which you live in today. All right, we got 47 minutes left. All right, let's get to my first caller who's been waiting a long time, and I'll go down the line. Everyone can get a chance to speak here. Press the number 1 if you want to talk, because we need less government and more freedom in this country. We need more work from individuals, blood, sweat, and tears. We don't need the government to tell me I need permission to start up a business. I don't need the government to regulate what I do. Because if I harm someone and I do something wrong, then me as an individual then needs to be held accountable. Okay? I don't need to be held accountable for what someone else does. And I don't need to be held accountable or help anyone else and be forced to help anyone else. I don't need to achieve the benefits of life as a human being by permission from someone else. And folks, socialism is wrong. And God bless Donald Trump for exposing that in the State of the Union on Tuesday night. But you know what? The sad thing of it is we are going to be a socialist country. We are. Venezuela. Look at Venezuela. Modern day. We don't have to go back to Adolf Hitler or Mao or Stalin or anyone else that has tried socialism where it's failed and it's destroyed the people of that country. We don't need to go back that far. We can look at Venezuela today. Look at Venezuela. Do your research. Use the internet for research instead of your own stupid own opinions and emotional opinions that have no factual foundations. We're all entitled to our opinions, yes, but your opinions are not facts. You're entitled to your opinions, but that should not sway the factual history or foundation of what this country was founded on, and that's a republic. A republic, folks. If you don't know what a republic is, type it into your internet browser before it's too late. We're not a democracy. And you are not entitled to anything. Entitled to nothing but to the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We are endowed by our Creator to the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we don't need to be constrained or restrained by any criminal corporation that restrains us today. And that's what they're doing, folks. And Donald Trump's trying to stop that. He's ended a lot of regulation. He has. All right, first caller here, area code 203. Go ahead. Welcome to the program, 203.
Go ahead. It's only the guy in Meriden again. I got a
the police state, Meriden, Connecticut, the police state where they say you need to register your gun.
And a couple short stories. First things first, 9 days is my brother's birthday, so I wish him a happy birthday now. Check his email for 22 Train or his Facebook page for 22 Train. He knows what I'm talking about anyway. Anyway, you talked about watching the news. You know, I've been telling you for a long time. I watch the news. I watch the news so I know what they're doing so I can get the hell out of these people's way, because that's what you got to do. You got to try to stay one step ahead of them all the time, and that's what you got to do. Just stay one step ahead of them or get the hell out of the way. That first call you made to the Weather Bureau there, I believe you were talking, but I believe he said it's coming from the Mexico border. So they're not going to say it's coming from Mexico, of course, because they could be sued or something if they said that. But they said it's coming from the Mexico border. But you were talking. And a couple of short stories based on what you're talking about tonight. 1989, I put a new electrical service on my house. First, I went to the electric company, and I wanted them to cut the lines coming into the house, and they wouldn't do it. So after big meetings with them and everything, they said, no, we can't come out. You got to hire an electrician. I said, listen, your wires are hooked onto my wires. If you don't come and disconnect them, I'm going to go up there on a ladder and cut them myself. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, yes, I can. You watch me. Anyway, they sent the truck out immediately, to come down and do it for me. So I had the permit from the city. You got to get a permit, put an electrical service in, but I wasn't allowed to take the old service down. I had to have a licensed electrician take the old service down. But I had aluminum siding on my house that was put up after the original service. So I went and took the old service down and put the new one up, and they have to come out and inspect it before they'll allow you to hook power back up. So he came out, and I thought I told you not to take the other one down. I said, I didn't take it down. I was putting up the new one. I put my foot in the box, and the whole thing just fell right off the wall. And he laughed at me and looked at me and smiled. And anyway, I did a good job. I've wired, I can do electrical work, so that's no problem. And now on a note regarding our public officials and everything, on a closer note, we're having a new porch put on here. I got the permit on January 3rd, which we were supposed to have. I paid for the permit on January 3rd, which we were supposed to have in 5 days. We haven't got it yet. I went to the town hall yesterday, and nobody can help me. Nobody knows. And one lady who looked on her computer, she says it's pending. What do you mean it's pending? It's been a month and a week it's pending. Well, who do I talk to? Well, the guy you talked to is not here. And I said, well, when's he going to be here? Well, I don't know. I said, he's the only person in the whole city government that knows what's going on. Well, he's got books, she said. He's got books. I said, good for him. He's got books. Everything's online nowadays. And that's the way it goes. In the meantime, I had to go to 3 different offices to get this far, because nobody can comment on anything and nobody knows anything and no one's willing to open their mouth and say anything. But that's the way it goes. In any event, calling these people like you're doing, it's a hell of an entertainment. We know they're all buffoons. We know they're all liars. If you think you're going to get a straight answer or talk to anyone, you're sadly mistaken. What I think I would do is I'd get all these people that are listening and see who's going to stand up. Sign a petition and send them a letter. Send it certified so they know they got it. Not that they're going to do anything with it anyway. They probably won't even sign for it.
Hang on, Meriden, Connecticut. What did you think of Kamala Harris when I called that representative who answered the phone? Didn't answer one question straight up. And as soon as she found out that I was calling in live from a radio show, she hung up on me. As soon as she said, "Are you recording this?" Oh my God! Click, hung up. And I just don't know what's your opinion on that.
She's a security guard. She's going to screen all the calls, and you're only going to get the answers that they want you to get. And end of the story.
It's a big club, and you're not in it, right?
That's exactly the way. That's why I said they're all buffoons. Look at these people on the Democratic side sitting at the State of the Union address in their KKK outfits. You know what? All they needed was a damn hood, right? Look at them. Trump saying this good, that good, and they're sitting there like they just ate a goddamn lemon. The only time they get up is when Pelosi gets up and waves her arms. And I commented on that. When I bring melons out in the summertime and leave them in the sun, they shrivel up just like her face. But I don't want to belittle her either. She's an older lady, but she's doing the wrong things here. That's for sure. But I mean,
she's a criminal. She's a criminal, and she should be arrested. And if I have to go back to the Citizen Rule Book, every one of you out there who are listening are a juror. You are the jury. You are the jury. You are the people that have the power to form de jure grand juries and arrest these people for the crimes they have committed, all the crimes throughout the years, shipping the drugs into this country. I talked about Barry Seal. Go back to Barry. They made a Hollywood movie about it, and people laughed. The guy worked for the CIA, shipping cocaine into this country, and the people. What are you gonna do? And now you got the Al Chapo case up there in New York right now. The jury started deliberating on Monday. And nobody knows what's going on ever since, because Al Chapo told everyone in the courtroom the governments are shipping the drugs into the countries. I paid the Mexican president $5 million to ship the drugs into the United States and to allow me to do it. For God's sake. What's wrong with you people? But, true. I played in the intro, and I played it earlier. We're too busy trying to stay alive, and that's the way they want to keep us.
Everybody's too busy with their cell phones and with their lives. A couple more things, and then I'll be gone because it's going to turn to crap real soon. I was driving with someone the other day, and they said, "Joe, you know what? I can only understand only 2% of what you say. I can understand." And I said, "That's because you can't understand the other 98% of what I'm talking about," and that's what I told them.
Well, many people don't understand what we're talking about. But the show is called Understanding the Times in Which You Live in Today.
Now, if you remember a year or two back, I said we should make an online game with a grand jury, and we could get all the facts in, we could have the attorneys, we could put the case law in there and everything, and we could convict these criminals in the District of Columbia. And we're not going to have just the 30 or 40 or 50 callers there in the chat room. You say you have thousands and whatever, that's who could participate all over the United States. And they could sign the petitions themselves with the case trial and everything. You want to convict these people and get things done right, that's how you're going to have to do it, because by calling them, that's just entertainment.
Well, you're absolutely correct. It is. It's entertainment. But what I'm doing is this is archived. And like you said, we have thousands of followers on Facebook. We have people listening on the internet right now. We know that. They've called in and told me that. The thing of it is that the real problem is that the people of this country are too busy with ulterior motives. And like Jordan Maxwell said, we're all too busy just trying to stay alive. Well, you know what? The founders of this country sacrificed a lot more than that, to give us this republic. And we should be ashamed of ourselves as Americans. Look, I know people are out there sick, and I dedicated this show to my grandmother, Elizabeth Rondo, who has pneumonia in Yalesville, Connecticut, and we're all praying for her. I was hoping Dr. Peter Ventura would call in tonight and give his voice on that. But, and I know Joe from Florida, we've been trying to get him on, and it's kind of hard. I've been trying to orchestrate that with Mike from Wisconsin and Jeannie from Wallingford, Connecticut, and it's very hard to do these things. But people are old, they're tired, and they're fed up, and they're like, what can we do? And like Jordan Maxwell said, we're just trying to stay alive. But the fact of the matter is, don't you care about your children? Don't you care about your grandchildren? Don't you care about your great-grandchildren? When will you stand up and fight? When will you stand up and fight like Donald Trump pointed out during his State of the Union address, the Holocaust survivors, the World War II veterans who were 18 years old, went and stormed the beaches of Normandy and fought against tyranny, who stood up against tyranny, who took the call and sacrificed in World War II. And look, I don't want to get into a history lesson here. We all know Adolf Hitler was put into power by various corporations around the world and blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, good Americans around and good people around the world, and it was mainly Americans in the United States of America, who stormed the beaches of Normandy against all odds. Imagine that. Imagine coming in a cased shelter, an amphibious vehicle, and when those doors opened, you were being hit by a .50 caliber machine gun and shot dead, and your success rate of living was at 20 to 10%. But they fought. They fought for what? They fought for the liberty. Imagine the founders who stood up against the greatest army that was known at that time, called the British King, the King of England. They fought against tyranny, the founders. They stood up against all odds. They had muskets, and the British had cannons. And they had the will of the people against them. They were the minority, the founders. And they stood up against all odds for freedom. Freedom. How many of you out there are willing to stand up against freedom? How many of you are willing to do your research? Oh, well, I got to go to work tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. I ain't got time. But I got time to take a picture of myself on Facebook. I could take a selfie. I got time, right? I got time for all the nonsense. I got time to go to the dance club in Greensboro, North Carolina, and shake my ass, right? We got time for all the parties. That's what Jordan Maxwell said. Why have we been so proliferated with entertainments, drugs, and alcohol? And all the entertainments that men love and women love. Why? This is a design, folks. You are designed to be sheep. You are designed. And, I invite people on Facebook all the time to come onto this radio program. They don't dare to come on. But I'm sure if Fox News called them and they got their 25 seconds of fame on TV, they're all for it then, right? You listen to these people. I was listening to a woman from Venezuela on Fox News. And I only watch it because, like I said, I do a radio show. So I need to report on these things as a part of the media and speak the truth. And this woman from Venezuela who escaped socialism and ran for Congress in Florida. I forget her name. I wish I had her name. I'd love to get her on the radio program, actually. Maybe I'll call her on the next show. I bet I can get her on this radio program. She's a Venezuelan woman. And she talked about socialism, how her and her family escaped it. And she brought forward so strongly, a Latino woman who brought forward so strongly her point. And you know what Fox News did? Oh, we gotta go on commercial. 30 seconds, 20, 10 seconds. We gotta go. But yet they'll spend 25 minutes on the goddamn Super Bowl, right? They'll spend 25 minutes on some firefighter singing, "It's cold in Iowa, it's cold in Wisconsin." But the people out there who are bringing the facts, we gotta go to commercial, we gotta take a break. I'm sorry, I gotta cut you off. Goodbye. That's what the fake news does. It's the corporate media. It's a game. And I played those intros in the beginning, folks. It's a game. And I played them in past shows. It's a big club. You're not in it, folks. You're not in the big club. And they're going to use you, abuse you, and I guess, like I've always said before I get to my next caller here, this has been prophesized in the Bible. America is going to be destroyed from within. And within the next 10 years, and I believe wholeheartedly through my studies of theology and my historical studies, and from what I know, America is going to be destroyed within the next 10 years. And we will abandon Israel. And prophecy will be fulfilled like the Bible says. Okay? And we will abandon Israel, and the Red Army, like the Bible says, will invade from the north and conquer Israel. And the man of peace is going to show up, and he's going to solve all of your problems. All of them. We're going to love our New World Order. They talk about it on Fox News and CNN and CBS, on The View, and all the other programs. They talk about it openly. Many times I've caught it. Have you? Have you done your research? I have. There's going to be a New World Order. And you're going to have a one world government, and you're going to have one president. You're going to have a World Bank. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I talk to people. Nobody's putting no chip in my forehead. Nobody's going to put a chip in my right hand. Yeah, you go without electricity for 3 weeks. You get your bank accounts closed down. You're not able to buy or sell like the Bible says. You're not able to buy or sell. What will you do? You'll give in. You'll give in. You'll give up. And you will obey the New World Order, and you'll obey the Antichrist and the false prophet. And the Roman Empire will rise again. We heard the Pope, didn't we? If any of you were paying attention to the fake news and the corporate news media, the Pope calls for one world religion. We all need to unite together, don't we? Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Hinduism, everything. You worship a tree. We need to unite together because we all worship the same God, right? We all worship the same God, don't we? No, we don't. No, we don't. But the Pope is calling for it, and the Roman Empire will rise again, and that's where the false prophet will be. And the man of peace will rise from the Middle East. He's already on the scene. He's alive. He's being trained. He's being prepped. He's already there. Many people know who he is right now. And maybe we'll get into that in a radio show in the future. But for the sake of security and safety, I don't think maybe I should reveal that or talk about that. But he's there. He's ready. He's ready. He's going to solve the Middle East problem. Like Mandela-Khan here, I'm going to bring onto the program. There is no Middle East. But don't worry. The Antichrist is going to solve that for everybody. He's going to answer everybody's questions. He's the Antichrist. And he's going to perform miracles. And the two witnesses are going to come. And they're going to stand up against him, as foretold in the Bible. And they're going to be slaughtered. Okay? In the streets of Israel, Jerusalem. And like the Bible says, and all the world is going to be able to see it. Can't we see everything that happens in real time right now on the internet? Through our iPhones? Through our microchips on our driver's license and our passports? Don't we? Are we not in real time already? You know, folks, I'm going to tell you right now. The phone number is 657-383-0616. Press the number 1 if you want to contribute to the radio program tonight. If you got the courage or guts to call in. Okay? Press the number 1. understanding the times. And if you missed the latter part of the show, we called politicians in California, and we exposed just how they don't care about you. Well, I put shoe polish on my nose. I did the moonwalk in 1983. I went to a dance party and dressed up like Michael Jackson. You're a racist! You're a racist! Your hurt is hurting me! You hurting me! Right? It's so hurtful. Oh, God, what am I going to do? The governor of Virginia dressed up like Michael Jackson in 1984. He's a racist. Hang him, hang him. But it's okay to kill babies after birth, right? It's okay to do that. You people are so stupid out there. And I want to hear from the stupid people, too. Press the number 1. I don't screen
eliminate
callers.
the rich and powerful.
Get rid of everybody. Why not? Let's tax the rich, 99%. You know what? If I build a company from the grassroots up and I become a millionaire, I should just give it away to everybody out there, right? That's what socialism is. Why not? Everybody should have everything for free, right? We should just take it instead of working for it, right? That's what the socialists say. And we called Kamala Harris tonight on the radio show. And what did they? Oh, the legislative. Our policy is not to talk about things like this. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know about this. Yeah, go back in the archive and listen how they double talk. You ask them a direct question, they can't answer it because you don't have anyone representing you. You stupid sheep. Wake up. Wake up and understand the times in which you live in today. These people don't care about you. Don't waste your time voting like a jerk. Don't vote. Don't vote. How can you vote on a corporation? How can you vote? Can you vote on where Walmart puts the pants? No, you can't. Can you vote how Amazon puts its videos up? No, you can't. They're a corporation. You are not under the Constitution anymore. You are not. There are 2 constitutions, and your constitution that gave you the right to liberty, to the pursuit of happiness is gone. Read the acts of 1871. Read the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 like I have. Read the Emergency Powers Act of 1933. Read the Senate Judiciary Committee's report on the Emergency Powers Act of 1972. I have read that live on this radio show. If you were stupid enough not to pay attention, then shame on you. Next caller. Okay, and I know people out there that are listening may not like this caller, but we're going to give him a few minutes to speak. I invited him to the radio program. He has a right to speak like all of you do. I've asked you to press the number 1 and come on to the radio program and voice your opinions and your thoughts. So if you want to hang up and go away, that's fine, but you should listen to the closing of this radio program. You really should, because I will have a closing here tonight. All right. Let's see here. All right. It's Mandela Khan. Go ahead. You're live on Blog Talk Radio.
I have mixed emotions because I don't do a popularity contest. I do what I do based on necessity, so you don't have to qualify me having a voice. You know, there's no third party being put as an interpreter. I say what I say, and I mean what I say. So as far as those who don't, I don't like 99% of nothing that I hear on here. But I have my patience and discipline, and I get in where I fit in. So, like I say, this is not about whether you like what I say or not. I will say what I say, and I can stand on it and prove what I'm saying. Now, you may not like the proof because America is not based on any truth whatsoever. It's based on lies. That's why the only thing I agree with that you did say is that America is going to be destroyed from within, and that's true. America is going to be destroyed from within by us, the people, by the people, for the people, of the revolution, not no religion. You know, and it's very, very horrifying to hear someone talking about religion and then the end times and this Bible as though y'all got the script already set under the fondling fathers who trespassed on the holy lands of already free, sovereign, and independent people and set up this Ponzi scheme called capitalism based on imperialism. Since you say, well, I can prove socialism don't work. Well, let's prove what is working right now. Genocide, atrocities, war crimes, cruel and unusual punishment, and specific exact crimes against women and children that's so appalling and offensive and reprehensible that if I don't put it on the table, then you'll act like it don't exist. But then even if I do put it on the table, you'll say, well, look, this is the best thing on the planet right here. The eagle. Yeah, it's working. It's the job of the eagle to work. You know, you say people need to work and get their whatever they're going to get. I remember when there was full employment in this country, setting up capitalism based on imperialism, full employment before there was a world economy, right? Now, I know when the world economy came into existence, and you do, it was on chattel slavery. That's what it was based on. There was no England, Germany, France, such and such and such and such. The mother country sending her criminals over here to set up the Ponzi scheme. It was then that the Europeans went to war against each other to try to figure out who was going to divide up the spoils, because the real wars were fought exactly and precisely for that. It wasn't for no slavery or freedom. It was to the victor goes the spoils. And it was so ironic that the eagle became the flying state-sponsored and international state-sponsored terrorist. Oh, how do you mean, Mandela Khan? Lay the map of the world out right now today. You keep talking about this Constitution in America, but yet this is the only nation that consistently violates international law of other nations' constitutions over and 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 again. And like, hey, we're supposed to, man. You got to pledge allegiance to this thing, and get up and pick up your guns and go where Uncle Sam tell you to, because this is going to help you. In other words, Mandela Khan, you won't be able to talk like this in Russia, China, Iraq, and Iran. They'll chop your head off. This is the big fear tactic, but we're team no fear over here. And the sky's the limit. But I can prove what I'm saying, that how can we in this country go and set up a Ponzi scheme that affects the other nation's political economy so much so that you unseat their presidents, you have coups, you execute presidents, you do everything that you say. You would go crazy if somebody even thought about doing what they're doing in here. Like you say, well, the Red Army going to invade this, that's that boogeyman word, the Red Army. Why is the Army red? Because it's not red. Red is that buzzword for communism or socialism or such and such and such and such. And knowing that the republic or democracy, whatever you set up, is only working to create more genocide, more atrocities, more crimes against humanity. So when I look at it, we know it's going to be destroyed from within. It has to be, in order for the other nations to breathe and live again. If we allow this thing to exist for, like you say, 10 more years, then every living human being is in imminent danger. Because as we speak now, according to the sign of times in which we live, the system itself is creating a situation to create civil war, a race war, and martial law. It's all set up, you see. All we got to do is act out, and then here comes the Big Bang Theory, the hammer and sickle. Now we're going to try to crush them all now, because we know that we're about to lose this thing. I'm talking about this new world order you keep talking about. These new kids on the block who happen to stumble up on all these loving, caring, sharing people that didn't have no weapons, so much so to this day, you can't name no one that looks like me that has a production, manufacturing, and distributing of no massive weapons, aircraft carriers, stealth bombers, submarines, surface-to-air missiles. We don't even have that in our repertoire from the continent of Africa, where all of the metals that is used in the Defense Department come from. So when it comes to who is the most vicious and violent, and I call it this, a blood cloaked of satanic white magic. The blood cult. You see, you got to have blood flowing in the streets in order for you to satisfy your insatiable appetite for kill or be killed. Do as I say or I'm on my way. And the only reason you say do as I say I'm on my way is because you think that, whoever got the biggest bang got the loudest buck. That's the way you're thinking. But little do you know.
So hang on, Mandela Khan, hang on. Let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question. Okay, so China has nuclear weapons, Russia has nuclear weapons, South Africa has nuclear weapons, Pakistan has nuclear weapons, India has nuclear weapons, the United States has nuclear weapons. What are you saying? Everybody's just going to give up all their weapons and all their guns to have a peaceful revolution?
I didn't say nothing about no damn peaceful revolution. I said a bloodless one, and there's a difference. Now, let me get to your question. South Africa do not have no nuclear weapons. When the Boers and the Dutch had control, the INIA, the International Atomic Agency, went in there when Nelson Mandela was cleared to become president. They said, we can't have no nuclear weapons in the hands of this group here. There ain't no nuclear weapons in South Africa today, and you know that too, so don't put that in there. But the problem you're having is that we know whoever produce, manufacture, and distribute these things under capitalism based on imperialism, they'll use them, won't they? They'll use them, won't they?
Hang on. What do you mean by capitalism, by imperialism? Are you telling me if I build up a business here in America,
I'm going to answer the first question, and then I'm going to answer the second one. Okay, go ahead.
Question by you said capitalism by imperialism. If I work blood, sweat, and tears every day, and then I hire one guy, and then I hire 3 guys, and I hire 50 guys, and then 100 guys, I'm an imperialist because I worked and built up my business as an individual, and I should just give it to you? Is that what you're saying?
You never heard me say nothing like that, but you're going to try to steal me from the second part of the question you asked me. You had 2 atomic bombs. Hitler was doing more damage than Japan, but you didn't drop no bomb on Germany. You dropped 2 of them on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. That is biased.
No. Mandela Khan. Now you're talking about history now. History, no. We didn't have to drop a bomb on Germany because Germany was conquered by a different way. Japan refused to surrender, and America made them surrender by dropping the atomic bomb. Anyway, all right. But let's not talk about history because we're going to disagree on history.
Well, I'll tell you what. Don't you tell me what not to talk about when all you talk about was a whole bunch of history and shit. You see how this is why I despise capitalism based on imperialism, based on white power. You see. You're going to try to articulate and dictate. That's right. That's exactly and precisely what it is, and you know it. Don't play with me, man, because I'm not trying to have these little cute games, which you keep saying, because you and I both know if I or anybody that look like me say, look, I got to have me some atomic bombs, you know what you're going to do? You're going to put rules, regulations, and restrictions and say, look, Mandela, you can't have none. Just like this settler state in 48 in North Africa, Israel, the only nation in the continent of Africa that has long-range nuclear arsenal.
All right, let me ask you. So Israel has no right to exist? Is that what you're saying? Israel doesn't have a right to exist?
Listen. There you go.
No. Answer the question, Mandela Khan. Israel, the Jewish people in Israel have no right to the land that they have, right? They have no right. They should just give it away. They should give it to the Palestinians. They should give it to Ethiopia because that's what you say, right? Israel has no right to exist.
No, I'm going to tell you. Now, let me tell you what I say. That you should take your ass back to Frankfurt and Berlin and build your wall up there so high that you can't get your ass out no more. Because number one,
I'm not talking about building a wall, Mandela Khan.
The only nation that's got a... I'm adding what I want to add. You don't steal my conversation. I talk for me. I'm not saying what you're saying. I'm telling you this, that the only nation in Africa that has nuclear weapons that can strike every damn country, not only in Africa, but outside in the Arab world, which is not the Middle East, that's also North Africa. You trying to make it seem like we don't want Israel to exist. Yes, we do. Go back to where the fuck you came from. set your shit up.
Mandela Khan, where does Israel exist? Where should they exist, since the Middle East doesn't exist? And there's no such thing as the Middle East, according to what you said. So that's what you stated. There's no such thing as the Middle East. So where should Israel exist?
You and I both know what it should just. You remember your grandmama used to say when you come over the house, when you finish messing everything up, then you put everything back where it belongs.
Mandela Khan, I don't remember what my grandma
Yeah. You done fucked up everything over there. North Africa is a part of where you can just threaten the whole of Africa from the north, and then the Union of South Africa, the little USA, is where you can threaten the other nations inside the continent, cleverly placed there by capitalism based on imperialism of white power. Now, you don't like. I don't like black power. I don't like black power. Okay, first of all, I don't like black power.
Let me ask you a question. Hang on. So capitalism you disagree with. So what should we replace capitalism with? Socialism? What do you recommend? Everyone just takes what they want?
No, listen. Good government is when you provide the constituents with services that keeps them tranquil. Whatever you produce, it's there not for your little private corporate interest. It's all growth, development, education, water, food, clothing, shelter, healthcare is all for, of, and by the people. If you could charge roaches and rats and flies.
Now, who pays for that, Mandela Khan? Who will pay for that? Who pays for that, Mandela Khan? Who pays for that?
The people have already been given birthrights entitled to their land. The land does not belong to your private sector, wherever you come from and set up your scheme.
Okay, so that means the land. No, hang on. I live in the private sector here in North Carolina. I own my land, and I know I'm a slave to the Federal Reserve. But so what you're saying is that I don't own it, and I should just give it to anybody who says that it's theirs. Is that what you're saying?
You notice how you try to play that Amos and Andy bullshit. You say what I don't say.
Mandela Khan, I'm just trying to get what's the answer
but notice how
here.
you say. Notice how you say. You stop me from what I'm saying, then you say what I don't say, and say, "Well, is that what you're saying?" You can't steer me, man. You can't guide me the way you want me. And I know it's a difficult thing for you to deal with because you say, "Damn, boy, he tearing my ass up." But I gotta jump in here and try to derail him from what he's talking about because, damn, we don't like this. I know you don't like it, but I don't like the fact that before the coming of the European invaders, I didn't need no visa, green card, passport. I could go east, west, north, and south at my own volition, my own discretion. But look at it today. Damn, I can't even step out the house without having some articles and papers and passports. Where you going? What do you mean? Where I'm going? I'm just going for a walk. Well, you don't look right. Oh, I don't. Okay, I look like what? Well, you look like you got some drugs or something. Oh, well, I'm glad you said that because I know that the international cartel, the White House is the rock house and Uncle Sam is the pusher man, you see, and the pharmaceuticals. And it's all under control, non-control, legal or illegal. Now, who made control prohibition? The same people who set up prohibition set up control, non-control, legal or illegal. So illegal or legal, who's it illegal for? It's not illegal for y'all to just bring tons of this shit over here and that good old war on terrorism dope. Look how that opiates is tearing up the asses of this country, like not when the what they call the French Connection, the Vietnam thing. That Vietnam thing ain't nothing like this thing here. This thing, that good war on terrorism dope, when y'all went in there talking about, well, look, we're going to get Osama bin Laden, we might as well get Muammar Gaddafi, we might as well get Saddam Hussein, get them all. But the bottom line,
I agree with you. Hey, Mandela Khan, I do agree with you on that. But listen, take 1 minute, take one more minute, and then I want to give my closing because I promised the listeners tonight a good closing. So take 1 more minute, please.
Okay. Let me get 1 more minute. Then let me say this. I told you before, and here's the solution. You're not going to kill people with atomic bombs. Know that their asses are in serious trouble. Aircraft carriers, they know they can't threaten, jail, and kill everybody, but they will damn sure attempt to. Right? They know that. But we must become like children again, like Jose Feliciano, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and Helen Keller, and forget what we thought, felt, belief, or opinion, because it's not true. Most of our information comes from the FCC, radio, and TV. The needle in the haystack is on social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. You got to look hard, but you'll find there are pockets of truth, and the only place that people can interact. How do you think I can touch the untouchables from Maine to Florida, Washington State to California, from the UK to Kentucky, from the Congo to the Bongo? My voice, I can crack my voice out here, and it goes through the ethos, and it'll be in the UK in the next 2 minutes. Now, that is extraordinary. So I'm saying that each and every one of y'all who's in these social medias acting like y'all just having fun and you're barbecuing, watching the stupid bowl and all that bull, you need to interact with other people and say, look, we ain't going to win. Ain't none of our teams is winning, because until people can have freedom, justice, and total independence, unhindered, unfettered, and we can care and share, then none of us are right. None of us are right. So I know I'm not right, but I know damn well you ain't right, because you want your God, country, and guns. See, I don't need no gun. My weapon is my tongue. And I'm going to rat-tat-tat-tat on your ass until victory's won. Right? My tongue is the motherfucking weapon for me. So I'm going to rest the case right there and, let it go with what it is, and you're going to give it closing.
Well, thank you, Mandela Khan. I appreciate it. As always, you're the best. You ramble on, but I agree with you on about 80% of what you say, actually. But and that's important, though, to listen to others on this radio program. It really is, and that's why I give everyone a voice on this radio program. But to close out this radio program here tonight. I don't know if there's any other callers that want to press 1 real quick and maybe have something to say, but I always invite everyone on this radio program. We live in an information age, and I support Alex Jones, and a lot of people criticize me on Facebook about that, but you know what? We have an info war out there. There's a war for your mind. I think Mandela Khan said that also. We're all paying attention to the stupid bowl on Sunday. And that's pretty good, the stupid bowl. I like that one. That's a good one. But we as the sheep, and look, I'm one of the sheep too. I got to obey. I got to obey the Federal Reserve enforcers. Look, like Mandela Khan said, he walks out of his house. Where's he going? What are you doing? Where are you going? Papers, please. Papers, please. Show me your ID. You need to identify yourself. You need to tell us who you are, because you're responsible for the guy that smashed into a car 2 blocks away. You're accountable for everyone else's actions except for your own, and that's socialism. And we talked about socialism, and we called politicians, and we're going to do an earlier radio show. I hope all of you out there will follow me on the radio program. We're going to try to do it a little bit earlier so we can get a hold of some of these criminals live again. We did get a hold of some of these criminals live on the radio program tonight. And we heard how they lied to us, how they wouldn't answer my questions, how Miss Kamala Harris, her Senate, her office in California, her office, said, "Are you recording this?" Up, click, goodbye. As soon as she found out I was live on the radio and I was archiving this show, and I didn't tell her, she automatically assumed I was recording this conversation. They hung up on me. You want to know why? Because they got a lot to hide, folks. They got a lot to hide. They got their 25,000 square foot houses that they're abstracting from you. And I agree with Mandela Khan in a lot of ways. We have a criminal Federal Reserve Bank that prints the free money. Read your central annual financial report. Read it. Your state has plenty of money, folks. And all of you out there who did tune in tonight, I want to thank you for your support and listening in. They're going to cut me off any second. But I did dedicate this show to my grandmother who has pneumonia, and I'm asking all of you to say a prayer for her tonight, whatever God you pray to or whatever. She's the last of the Mohegans in my family. Elizabeth Rondo from Yalesville, Connecticut. I told her I was going to dedicate this show to her, and hopefully I don't have to dedicate a show in the near future when she's gone, because once we're gone, you know, it hurts. It hurts all of us. Loss of life it hurts all of us. It really does, and we need to wake up as a people. We really do. So I want to say good night to everybody, and God bless.
Good night.